Basically, the joints of Norament tiles do not have to be sealed. If the user has specified joint sealing, you must first of all carefully apply Nora liquid wax to the seams so as to later be able to separate the joint sealing compound from the flooring surface. Then cut open the seams with a joint cutter or mill them open with a joint milling machine, about 2.5 millimeters wide and half the material's thickness deep. Nora TH joint sealing compound. Mix the two-component compound and then process it using one-way plastic cartridges. First of all, prepare the two one-way plastic cartridges. Cut off the cartridge's closure, screw open the spray nozzle, and cut open its tip at an angle. 1 unit of joint sealing compound consists of 820 grams of basic compound and 180 grams of hardener. This kilogram of joint sealing compound is sufficient for about 30 to 40 running meters, depending on the joint width you've milled open. Put the hardener into the basic compound, bearing in mind you always have to process the entire material quantity provided in the unit. Then mix the two components for about 2 minutes using a Nora stirring spindle and a drill, stirring particularly well at the can wall and bottom. After mixing, put the pressing ring fitted to the can's lid onto the can and the empty cartridge on this pressing ring. Press down the empty cartridge until it is completely filled. Once the first cartridge is ready, immediately fill the second one as well. Note that both cartridges must be processed immediately, one after the other, because the two-component compound hardens fast with relatively large quantities. Joint sealing. Use a gun suitable for the cartridge to spray out the joints to overflowing. Scrape the overflowing joint sealing compound off the seams, using the Nora smoothing spatula so that they are flush with the flooring, being careful not to produce any hollow seams. The joint sealing compound pressed to the left and right in this process must exhibit a clearly visible separation from the joint. When joint sealing compound has spilled from the cartridge onto the flooring, it must be removed with liquid wax immediately, because it's almost impossible to clean it later on. On the next day, you can then pull off the strips of excessive joint sealing compound, which have meanwhile hardened. This concludes the first phase of joint sealing. Only after this first phase can you, in a second phase, apply wax to the seams running at right angles to the finished ones, mill them open, spray them out, and smooth and scrape them off. When building up the skirtings, the joints of the inner and outer corners are sealed in exactly the same way.